Mr. Holroyd, seated in the public gallery, I welcome you to this meeting of Council. I trust that the process for today has been explained to you, so I now invite you to advise Council on your question, please. Thank you, Mr. Holroyd.
Thank you very much. I believe it's the first ever public question to be asked to this council, so it's no pressure there. This is my statement and question. Is Neath Talbot Council aware that even if we stopped all fossil fuel production today, food emissions alone would exceed the 1.5 degree limit of the Paris Agreement? Do you know that the majority of food emissions come from meat and dairy? And a recent analysis of UK diets revealed that food emissions could be slashed by 75% with a plant-based diet. As well as a climate crisis, we also face a biodiversity crisis. In fact, Britain has lost more of its natural biodiversity than almost anywhere else in Western Europe. 83% of farmland worldwide is used for animal agriculture, but it only supplies 18% of global calories. In fact, if every country ate and consumed animals like we do in the UK, we would need another planet the size of Mercury to feed everyone. A plant-based food system, on the other hand, would create an opportunity to return 3/4 of agricultural land to nature, absorb carbon dioxide in the process, and improve biodiversity. If we switch to a plant-based food system, we could also improve public health. If the UK population swapped from meat to plant-based food in their weekday lunches, over 11,000 cases of type 2 diabetes could be prevented a year, and 366,000 fewer people could be living with cardiovascular disease. This council could help make that happen. Research shows that the public trust their local council representatives more than national governments, so I believe this council has a mandate to lead the initiative by introducing plant-based menus and defaults to help increase the consumption of plant-based food across Neath and Talbot. Several councils, including Edinburgh, Norwich, Lambeth, Exmouth, Haywards Heath and Belfast, have endorsed the plant-based treaty and initiated real action to reduce food emissions, such as plant-based catering at meetings and events, carbon labelling in schools and universities, fruit and vegetable vouchers for low-income communities, commitments to lower emissions of school plates, plant-based cookery workshops for the community and public education campaigns. So my question is, will Neath Talbot Council show climate action leadership by endorsing the plant-based treaty and developing a plant-based treaty action plan? Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Holroyd, for your question. I now refer you to the Cabinet Member for Nature, Tourism and Wellbeing, Councillor Ken Phillips, to respond, please. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Mayor. Can I first thank you, Mr. Holroyd, for this question at today's full council. As a council, we pride ourselves in listening and engaging with our residents on numerous areas of interest, and I thank you for bringing this important topic to our attention this afternoon. Excuse me. As a council for nature, tourism and wellbeing, I believe Neath Talbot is providing clear leadership and demonstrating its commitment to addressing the issues of climate change, decarbonisation and biodiversity. It's certainly an area of keen interest for myself, and I'm passionate about the work already being undertaken, while acknowledging that there's always more to do. As a council, we acknowledge the important role we have in reducing our impact on the climate and nature. We clearly state in our corporate plan that we are working towards a more prosperous, fairer and greener Neath Talbot, and we're committing resources to a programme of work focused on responding to the climate and nature emergency. It is widely acknowledged that the production of meat and dairy has a significant impact on the climate, and that we will all need to eat less meat and consider improved environmental sustainability both within meat production and with alternative plant-based choices. There are important conversations to be had around this issue locally as well as nationally, and that's the purpose of the Local Food Partnership. Although direct responsibility for agriculture lies with the Welsh Government, which has published the Agriculture Wales Act 2023, introducing the Sustainable Land Management Framework with a focus on sustainable food production, the Neath Talbot Food Partnership is bringing together people, businesses and organisations with an interest in the local food sector. It seeks to collaborate, connect and strengthen Neath Talbot's food system and local food economy. Together, we're working towards those shared values and priorities, developing projects that promote healthy, local and sustainable food. It's about businesses, organisations and local residents coming together to try and relocalise our food supply chain and support local small producers in the food system, and we would love to hear from anyone who is keen to be involved. Underpinning our commitment to addressing climate change, we published our decarbonisation and renewable energy strategy in May 2020. 2 years later, in September 2022, we declared a climate emergency. This focused on key priorities approved by the Council that we believed we could progress and were within our control. This work has involved reducing carbon emissions across our estate, developing one of the UK's first energy-positive commercial office buildings, decarbonising our vehicle fleet, and working towards a prosperous, low-carbon economy for Neath Talbot. Neath Talbot Council also published its first biodiversity duty plan in 2017, demonstrating the Council's ongoing commitment to maintaining and enhancing biodiversity and promoting the resilience of our ecosystems. The latest revision to the plan was in 2023, and it will be considered on a 3-year cycle, ensuring it remains relevant and demonstrates our long-term vision to reverse the decline in biodiversity. At present, Neath Talbot Council does not have a corporate food strategy, and this is certainly something we will consider. Our schools provide over 6,500 meals every day and promote a healthy, balanced diet with a wide choice of non-meat and non-dairy produce, including vegetable salads and fresh fruit. Similar diverse menu options are also available at a number of sites owned by the Council that provide catering for customers, such as Margam Park. I'm keen that we continue to improve and enhance our plant-based offerings and to encourage people to consider alternative options to meat and dairy products as part of a healthy, balanced diet. I was aware of the plant-based treaty, and there's a great deal of detail within it to be considered, and we will be doing so. There are many aspects that I would agree should certainly be taken on board, and we're currently researching best practice within other local authorities. I would like to reiterate our commitment as a Council to do our part in addressing climate change, decarbonisation and biodiversity, and as we review our key delivery plans, I will be asking officers to take into account the important issues raised by the plant-based treaty. Can I finish by once again thanking you for the question and highlighting this issue? There continues to be a lot of work for everyone to do in this area to ensure a prosperous and sustainable environment for future generations, and we in Neath Talbot Council will continue to strive to play our part. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Phillips. Mr. Holroyd, would you like to ask a supplementary question, or was that response sufficient?
That was a good response. I thank you for that that answer. Yeah, I mean, that's all we're asking is just more options and more information so people know why they should choose those options and just to think about their food choices. But yeah, I mean, you've answered a lot there, so thank you very much. I'd also like to say I'm a poet and I've written a poem. Also, about the plant-based treaty. I don't know if you'd let me read that out. If you've got the time, it's only less than 2 minutes. Just as you've got no one else asking any questions, would it be all right to read my poem about the plant-based treaty?
So, Holroyd, you fill your boots, sir.
Thank you very much. I was expecting to know then. Are you doing your best in your personal quest to reduce your carbon emissions? You recycle your waste and ensure that it's placed into bins with correct definitions. You're reducing your flights and you turn off your lights. You cycle to work when you can. What more can you do? You're certain that you are doing enough for one man. But there's something you've missed from your credible list if your diet is milky and meaty. You need to do these. Eat plants and plant trees to endorse the plant-based treaty. Your city or town have written it down and you promise to do all that's needed. You've listened to sense, climbed down from the fence and all the warnings are heeded. You're investing in towers to capture wind powers and panels to harness the sun. More buses and trains and new cycle lanes and clean air zones will get the job done. But the thing we need more is the thing you ignore. It should be written as bold as graffiti. Remember this, please. Eat plants and plant trees. Endorse the plant-based treaty. You say with elation that you as a nation are doing your absolute best. You've set all your goals like square pegs in round holes, and you say there's no more to invest. But your foresight is lacking if you're paying for fracking and still want to burn fossil fuels. You don't want to hear, but the message is clear, and it should be a lesson in schools. It's affecting us all, from the large to the small, from China to the Isles of Tahiti. Take your cue from the bees, eat plants and plant trees, and endorse the plant-based treaty. Animal farming is actually harming this planet we're trying to save. We must understand it's destroying the land and the way it's supposed to behave. The food of the masses produces the gases that poison the water and air. It would be better for you and the animals too, if only more people would care. Stop all the breeding and change how we're feeding is the plan that should be enforced. We can do it with ease. Eat plants and plant trees means the plant-based treaty is endorsed. Thank you.
Well, I, for one, thoroughly enjoyed that. I think you may have a sideline there going. I mean, totally, that was excellent. Thank you for that, and thank you for your question here today. It's lovely to see the public engaging. We'd like to see more of it, if I'm honest. We are seen as people that sit in ivory towers, as they call it. Not that this is an ivory tower, as you can see. But thank you very much for your attendance. You're more than welcome to stay if you wish. I know audit is next, and it's a little bit of a dry subject, but if you want to stay, I'd like you to stay, because it'll give you an insight to how the machine works. So, thanks very much.